Hello, everyone. I hope you liked our keynote session with Linda, wherein she detailed out the key actions to take for transforming organizations and making hybrid work for everyone. Moving ahead, on a similar note, business leaders have another major thing to focus on during their boardroom discussions. It is about the mental well-being of the workforce, which we all know has become a business imperative for employers as it directly relates to employee productivity. To shed more light on this very important topic today and share his experiences and best practices with us, we have Harish Goyal, CEO and Managing Director of Yo1, the health and wellness business of Essel Group, joining us from New York today. Harish is a C-suite professional offering rich experience of over 2 decades in setting up ventures profitably, heading multi-billion operations globally in association with renowned MNCs and blue-chip organizations across digital and broadcast media, telecommunications, infrastructure, consumer durables, and process industries. Welcome, Harish. It is such a pleasure to host you today.
Thank you, Yasmin, for having me. It's such an honor to be part of this workshop today. Topic which is actually really very dear to me, health and wellness.
Absolutely, and it is very dear to all of us because in the past few years, the impact that the health and wellness can have on employee productivity and overall business, I think, is very, very critical today. So thanks, Harish, for joining us. And I would also like to request our audience members to keep posting your questions and comments in the chat section, and also keep sharing your key takeaways from this session today. So Harish, coming to the first question that I have for you, we just spoke about how well-being has become the focal point, not just for HR leaders, but business leaders too now. How has it been for you in the past 2 years? Tell us about your learnings.
Okay, first of all, I would say health and wellness was always important for all of us, for all, the businesses. But then last 2.5 years had actually showed us how urgent it is. It is not only important, it is urgent and important, which means we can't afford to ignore it anymore. I would say, like we always, in our electronic and digital world, we reboot, we refresh, we reset, we recharge all our electronic devices. If we consider ourselves as integral part of the same ecosystem, how much of all this we are doing for ourselves, for our health, for our body, for our mind? What all are we doing to refresh, to reboot, to reset, and so we can restart and get back in this day-to-day work? So at least last 2 years that taught us that as much as business is important, work is important, health, of course, which was always taken for granted, because that's how we are. When we are well, we are always taking it for granted. But now health is also integral part of it. Especially every time we enter our offices, we see that first sign that wear your mask. Even if the sign is not there, the scars of those signs are there across the building, which keeps reminding us. Human mind is very, we forget things very fast.
True.
I'm sure actually, we may not be remembering that there was a time of, oxygen cylinders, there was time of oxygen concentrators, there were time of everyone looking for masks and sanitizers. In these 6 months this year, I mean, how much of sanitization are we doing and how much of mask are we doing? So we have to actually, keep it in mind that health and wellness, as I said, is very integral part of our life, our business,
Yes,
our meetings, and our discussions.
It is actually a very well brought out point, Harish. I think the past 2 years made us realize that we actually were taking our health and wellness for granted. I think a lot of people, workplaces, business leaders, everybody was ignoring it, maybe somewhere at the back seat. But now it has again become one of the topmost priorities. If you want your people to be productive, if you want your business to do well, you have to ensure that your people are doing well. So I think that's very, very important. Thanks for sharing that. So, Harish, as a CEO, I'm sure even you must would agree to this, that one of the biggest fears you would have is seeing overall productivity go down when a situation like this happens, when a crisis like this happens. How, as a leader, were you able to manage this, especially in the past 2 years?
Okay, it's a absolutely nice question, good topic, and exactly you have touched the crucial point. First of all, I would actually take this as an opportunity, because instead of looking at the productivity downside, let's actually look at what these lessons of last 2 years have actually um, taught us, and how it has helped us be productive. If we take example of our discussion itself that is happening right now, Yasmin, I remember when your team contacted me saying, look, come to Singapore for this discussion. I just thought that 19 hours of flight and from New York. But then look at the productivity that, in these 30 minutes, our objectives are being met, wherein I am actually as much as live uh, in this conference. So if we look at, like, out of 130 employees that I have in my team, there was a time when all of us were operating from home. And for more than a year in Singapore, we operated from home. Our business continued to grow. Of course, it was the type of business that we have, whether we talk about our entertainment media or the health and wellness business. Both of these businesses actually have grown in last 2.5 years. Answering productivity, out of 130, at least, there are 44 employees that actually are effectively able to, one third of my manpower is able to effectively work with higher and better efficiency from home. So that is something which has actually, added on to the plus side of our business. Mm-hmm. Of course, there are 2/3 of people who need to be here, but then all of them don't need to be here every day. There are some of the days that, they still are able to work under the flexibility of working from home or working from wherever they are. In fact, if we look at my existing business of Your One, we have something called work from Your One. Okay. This is what we offer to the outside world, saying that come and stay with us in a health center and work from here instead of working from the busy Manhattan or from the busy downtown life.
Exactly, yes. So I think that's very important. A very key point that you brought here was that productivity does not depend on where you're working from. It is about how you're working. And if you're given the flexibility to work from wherever you feel more comfortable, you'll end up being more productive. As you said, it's about being digitally savvy. It's about how you can take out more, make more impact out of lesser things, do more out of less. So I think that's also very, very important. So great points, Harish. Thank you so much. Also, Harish, you must have seen that during the pandemic, the CEO and the CHRO, the HR leader and the CEO partnership became very, very important, because there was a need to drive new collaboration for newer innovations. What has been your experience? Tell us about some major initiatives that you undertook at your organization, and how did the partnership with this HR leader work for you?
All right. So let me add another dimension to this partnership. While we are saying CEO, we are talking about CHRO. My key is coordination between CEO office, CHRO office, and CFO office. These three, core functions actually, when they work together, it actually made us, first of all, very efficient. Not only in terms of productivity, but in terms of cost optimization and overall business aspirations.
Yes.
So this was very, very important. And fortunately, in last 2 years, all functions got enough of time to address these areas together. Otherwise, we were all so busy in our day-to-day life that I would say last 4 decades of routine has been already broken. And now we are in a new routine wherein we understand as to how important it is to breathe fresh in the morning at 5:30, and then how important it is to meet and address these important functions. Otherwise, we used to be busy on our customer side in our operations. We were not really sitting together with the HR to address some of the urgent or important areas, and then same with the CFO. So within the group, actually, now we have a whole new roster of things, whole new activities that we have introduced, which were not practiced by us in the past.
Okay. That's interesting. And if I may add, I think, how about the CIO also playing a very important role here, because technology became so imperative at this time, right?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
If they were not doing a good job, you and me won't be able to connect with the uninterrupted internet.
Yes, exactly. So I think that's what this whole pandemic, the lessons that it taught us. One of this was this whole part that you mentioned, that it's no longer about working in silo. It was about working in collaborative manners, with each function had to come together. HR had to understand business better so that it could provide better people to take care of the business. Business had to understand people better so that it could take care of how important their well-being, and the people are the core asset for your business to move forward. Similarly, cost optimization, similarly, technology. So all these strong pillars became really critical for organizations to be brought together. And the pandemic, I think, played a very crucial part in it. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pandemic is, I would say that it is behind us now.
Yeah.
So, so we can at least also say that in our lifetime, we have seen and we have worked well during the pandemic time also.
Yes, actually, it was one of those crises that actually gave us an opportunity to change and transform ourselves also. So that was one of the key parts. So thanks, Harish, for sharing that. So let's move on to the future now, Harish. The future is still uncertain to many degrees. We are now talking about a new world of work, which might become the norm for all. Employee experience will require redesigning practices and how leaders need to take care of employee needs. How ready is your organization? How ready is Essel Group to face these new challenges? And what is your plan for a bigger and brighter future?
First of all, I would, Yasmin, say that let's talk with absolute certainty.
Okay.
I've seen that, look, uncertainty is only state of mind. If we are certain at the top, we are certain with our teams, we'll definitely walk the path with a absolute certainty. So I would actually, keep uncertainty by the side, and I'll say that, with absolute certainty, we are actually getting into better times. We have already got into better times. So what we did not do in 2 years, a lot of us have already been on the fast track. We have fast tracked our project, our expansions, our investments, and the projects that those were meant for 2020 are already, I would say 80-90% of them have already been executed in the first 6 months. And we are getting closer to the new year and end of this year. I mean, in terms of, I would say, having the teams together, this is really now that I see that, the same set of groups are talking together. Our boardrooms are busy again, wherein we see everyone sitting in person now and contributing, and they're all very fresh. Everyone has learned a lot, and this time also gave us, these past months have given us a lot of time to think, re-strategize, and come back with the full force. So I would actually, I'm very optimistic that, we'll be, all of us actually, not only one business, whether it is health or wellness, or whether it is the technology side or the telecommunication side, the businesses that I have actually, fortunately been associated with are all doing very well.
So can you tell us a little more about what kind of focus are you bringing onto your employees? If you look, you said that let's first start with certainty. And I think that's a very optimistic approach to looking at the future. Because if we feel uncertain, we will not be able to make the right decisions, as you said.
Right.
So how are you preparing to take care of your employees going forward? You might be working from office, some might be continuing to work from home. There's this whole hybrid environment. People are asking for more flexibility. So what are your thoughts around building for the future that way?
So largely, I would say teams are back in office in person, and because a lot of them had worked from home and from long distance in the past, I would say this is the time that we are actually again focusing on reconnecting back in person with them. This is the time that we are speaking to them. We are giving them reassurances as to how, well the business is equipped to grow further. And also I have realized that, during this new phase, we have to be approachable. They should feel confident to peep in our offices and say hello, even if there is no agenda, because, for a while, they had not seen us in offices. When they see us in corridors of our offices, we walk with them instead of actually, getting busy on the phone screens or looking elsewhere. When we meet them in parking area in the office, some of the staff they work on different floors and little far off buildings. So the thought is that we try and talk to them. We try to give them that personalized feeling that they are important. They were always important. They are even more important in this new era, post-pandemic era, I would say. Of course, the human angle, human being is the most complex part of all of our businesses. Yes. Everything else is same. Technology remains same. Strategies remain same. Just the keywords keep changing and priorities change with the business and locations and countries. For me personally, there has been a significant change wherein in last 3 years, I have actually, moved from South Africa to Singapore and now Singapore to New York. It is not changing countries, it is changing continents, and they are vastly different continents. But the challenges were same in all the 3 continents, and the I would say focus areas remained the same. Mm-hmm. So it is actually, I'm very positive, extremely positive of, and we have all come out with great learnings from the past. So I would say that, future is good. Present is also good. Past is behind us.
Lovely. That's a very, very great thought again, I think. And as you said, as a leader, it's become so important to focus on humanness and in being more human, in being more empathetic, in connecting more with your people, since there has been this distance in the past 2 years, especially people have been scattered. So when they're coming back, how do you reconnect with them? I think that's a very, very beautiful thought, Harish. On that note, I'm coming to the last question for our interview right now. And it's understood that the checklist for employee well-being will be relooked at. And employers of the future will look at improving their strategy so that they can empathize better with their people. What golden tips will you give to leaders? Some of them you already shared, but on a final note, what tips will you give to leaders like yourself? How can you make it better? How can you focus more on your people, take care of them, make it better for them?
I would say actually, just one thing that, they should feel that they are part of the family, they are part of us actually, So as I said, they should feel so confident that, when we are sitting in our offices, they should be able to peep in and say hello, even if there is no agenda. And your good response at that time, instead of, looking at screens or papers, if you look at them and give a nice smile, and that I think it works very well, because at least, those guys go back and tell everyone that, look, I did see and went in the office, and he's in a good mood and everything seems good. And
I think that's so beautifully said. I think it's about having that approachable mindset, approachable attitude as a CEO, breaking all the barriers, breaking those boundaries that usually used to happen between the top management and the other level of employees. So you put it very beautifully. It's just about passing that one smile, making them feel that they are valued in the organization. As a leader, if you can make that happen, if you can make people feel more valued, more empowered, that will help them bring their best selves to work, and eventually that will impact employee experience, and eventually finally it will impact your business. They will be more productive, more loyal. You'll be able to have the best people and keep them as family, keep them happy, right? That's the end mind and goal.
Right.
Yeah, great. So on that note, Harish, thank you. Thank you so much for your precious time. It was lovely talking to you and lovely hearing about how positive you are for the future, how you believe that it is about looking at things with certainty and not uncertainty, preparing for it, and also having people at the core of all the transformation that businesses are going through. So once again, thank you so much for your time, Harish. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much, Yasmin and team Team ET for having me. And it's such a privilege to connect back with all of you. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you everyone else for joining us. Up next, we have a mega panel discussion on the topic, building a borderless workforce for a sustainable future. So stay tuned and see you on the other side. Thank you.